Super 16, it's the cream of the crop. College football time of year, don't stop.
You're adding this guy.
Just another gold dome with the courage, heart, skill, and will. Bringing you the best 16. Serving never plate for the football fiends. Ranking the best 16 college teams. Football fans, it's the show of your dreams.
Ain't no bias. Chris Zorich ranking truth. Traded in the golden helmet in the past for a suit. With the tape, never lies. College ball, he's a stoop. Ranking the top 16, not the top 32.
I don't mean to cut you off like a Zorich jersey, but you ain't really grinding unless the jersey dirty. Hit the running back like a Mack truck behind the 30-yard line. It's game time. My team Roddy off the sideline.
You look at Chris like this with a fact checklist, going over college teams like a 50 scientist. Steve streaking from his head like in his playing days. Super 16 polls on the show straight away.
It's the FBS, the best of the best from the ACC to the SEC. Pac-12, Big Ten, Mountain West, Sun Belt, and the Big 12. Open your eyelids. Who the best like the clock? Super 16 is the cream of the crop. College football time of year, don't stop. With Christopher Zorich, just another gold dome with the courage, heart, skill, and will. Bringing you the best 16. Serving never plate for the football fiends. Breaking the best 16 college teams. Football fans, it's the show of your dreams.
All right, folks, it's a little different view, and I apologize. I'm doing this from my iPad, and I'm having a little technical difficulties that took us a while to hopefully fix. But this is you got me. This is the best I can do for right now, so I do apologize about a little delay. But it's been an exciting week of football. We've had like 300 bowl games. And we had two pretty interesting games yesterday, and the Bears also played. So I'm sure Phil will have a couple comments about that. Would you like to jump in, Phil?
There he is. He's back, ladies and gentlemen.
After 3 hours of technical difficulties, I apologize about that.
Chris Zorich was in the land of Transformers. Producer Cherie and myself were trying to get his audio right, but it just wouldn't. I think the mic. But anyway, we're here, Chris.
We are
at the precipice. What I predicted, Michigan to the national championship.
Yes, you did.
I was very happy. I was texting with Cherie that I was on my knees praying on that fourth down. They set up in the exact defense I would have. I'm like, just keep this guy. What a game. What a game.
Both
great
games.
games. Both games are outstanding football games. And that's what it's about. At the end of the day, I guess the championship playoff committee was happy with Florida State's performance.
Well, it's really interesting if we can just do a little sidebar about that, because I know that a lot of folks were talking about the 63-3 score.
Yeah.
And even Kirby Smart was like, hey, they had a lot of people opt out. Look, at the end of the day, and there were some folks from Georgia's team that opted out as well. But at the end of the day, it's about culture. And it's about a coach. And I'm sorry, I'm gonna be old school, but I'm gonna go back to Alabama last year when you had Will Anderson and both Bryce Young said that, hey, no, we're not gonna opt out because I would let my teammates down. And then you heard it this year with Bo Nix. They're playing freaking Liberty, and he was still gonna go out there and compete and play. So this idea of, they had a lot of people opt out. Well, yeah, the reason why they had a lot of people opt out is because of the circumstances. Ben, thank you very much for hanging out with us. I apologize about the technical difficulties, but
we're here now.
This idea of, hey, let's feel sorry for Florida State because they had a bunch of people opt out. Bullshit.
Yeah, I thought Kirby Smart's comments afterwards were on point. Like, we got to look at this. He understood. Like, you ain't gonna let off the gas pedal, but you're also at the same time feeling some compassion for them on the other side, because all of these kids are opting out. And maybe there has to be some sort of requirement, some contract built into the NIL money. You're obviously dealing in a contract. The transfer portal, that needs to be set up where it's a postseason thing, so it keeps the integrity of the game
or at
in
least,
line.
because I was talking to a couple of my friends about this, because if you talk about the transfer portal, the reason why they have it around this time is because the majority of schools are on semesters.
Right.
And so the semester starts, like, I think January 15th.
That's true.
So that's one point. The second point that you mentioned, talking about the NIL, or like maybe, compensating the players. First of all, I've been to several bowls as players, as a player, as a kind of a correspondent, let's say, and a lot of these bowls are hurting for money. And the only bowls that are making a shit ton of money are the big games, are the New Year's Day bowls, right?
The
So
Frosted Flakes bowl didn't.
No, Tony the Tiger, baby. Tony the
Sorry.
Tiger. Exactly. I mean, so for example, and some people might remember this. Several years ago, Florida State played Northern Illinois in the Orange Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
This was maybe 10 years ago. And Northern got in there because they were the best group of 5 team or something like that. And they had, first of all, no one knew who the fuck Northern was. But the idea that you had the president had to ask the other schools in the MAC to help them travel, and so that he asked each team for each school for $100,000, and then they were telling the students that, hey, they were supplying buses for them, like, if you buy your ticket, we can get you there. We can house you. I mean, so they have all these.
So 1940s again.
Right. Exactly.
Here's a train ticket.
Hey, man. But the idea is that the smaller bowls wouldn't be able to afford compensating the kids, right? And so somebody, I forgot, maybe it was on game day, they were talking about, NFL guys, they get paid by the game during the season. So there's 18 games?
17
games. So there's 17 game checks, right? And so if a guy doesn't participate in the bowl game, do you not pay one of his checks?
There's got to be some sort of accountability, because it doesn't look good and it doesn't play good, obviously. But the next problem will be, with 12 teams, where do those other bowls go? You know what I'm saying? Like, they become obsolete. I don't think you could continue that. But obviously,
it's frustrating because I'm
no one's going to watch it. Fan. Me too.
But because, I think a solution, because, well, the problem is that there's too many bowls, right? But it's kind of a double-edged sword, because the NCAA, the bowl season folks, they want as many bowl games as they can, because the coaches love it, because they can say, hey, I went to a bowl game. But the problem is there's so many bowls that, and it happened again this year, that there were a couple 5 and 7 teams that were playing.
Right. Minnesota's out there playing.
So
winning at 5.
Right. And if you make it, I mean, is it 6 and 7? is it 6 and 5? I mean, what's the threshold for a team to be able to compete for a bowl? And then if you do that, then you're going to get probably 15, maybe 10, 15 bowls that aren't going to be able to have any competitors, because if you say, okay, 8 and 4, 7 and 5, I mean, is that the cutoff? And so it's the fact that there's so many bowls, and the coaches want to be able to say, hey, I took my team to a bowl game when they're 6 and 6, and more importantly, on the coach's side, they just want that extra 2 weeks of practice anyway.
It's definitely going to be something. Obviously, I believe the bowl is going to end. I think it's just going to be the field of 12, and then that's where it's going to be eventually, because of what you're talking about here. And you're adding money and transfer portals. Then the product for those other bowls, those kids have put in a transfer. But there's a lot of layers that I didn't even think about the end of the season with the different marking periods or whatever. What do we call these things? Semester.
Thank you. Marking periods. Yeah. Marking periods. That's great. How many marking periods are there in a year?
I couldn't think of the semester.
I love that.
Semester you have to be obviously registered for school, thus the time frame doesn't match up, thus you have to apply early and let everybody know that you're leaving, and then you can't play with that team. It can't be like the NFL with free agent. I'm sure some of the Bears players wanted to bounce in October and go to another team, but they can't, right? Because they're on the team. Their contract says that, and I'm a free agent. That begins March of the beginning of the year. So it's a very complex thing that I don't know where it's going. And
then at the end of the day, I mean, when we talk about bowls, right? Like the majority of folks think of a bowl as just, hey, let me watch a game in January, right? Or in December. But for those towns that are hosting these bowls, like that's income,
right?
To the city.
Spectators are coming from different cities,
right? So I mean, we could say, hey, yeah, don't worry about the bowls, but there's so much money that are tied in, even the smaller bowls, right? There's so much money that's tied into just a regular bowl game. And again, we're not talking about the New Year's Six bowls or the real big bowls. I'm just talking about like you're saying, the Tiger Bowl,
the Pop-Tart Bowl,
the
Jim Larson's favorite bowl,
the Quick Lane Bowl, Guaranteed Rate Bowl. I mean, these are games that sponsors have paid a shit ton of money for, to have the little CEOs do commercials and shit. And the idea that you have money out there, people are willing to kind of do this. And you think about like Arizona. I think Arizona had like 4 bowls in whatever stadium they were in. It was crazy.
By the time I get to Arizona, yes, too many bowls. How is this going to change the layout of the land of football, college football next year? Is going to be very interesting, and we'll be talking about it. But
here's something else that
go ahead.
I don't want to piss anybody off for the new year, but who do y'all think are going to be in these 12 slots? Like, it's going to be half SEC and half Big Ten, right? I mean, you know that, right?
Drew's throwing.
So, I don't know how we feel about that.
The 12, are they going to do conference winners first?
Well, supposedly, yeah. So, supposedly conference champions.
So conference champions get an automatic,
and then a bye.
Okay. And then we don't even know the conferences. There's so
Well, minus the Pac-12.
yeah. Well, the Pac-2.
Well, okay, minus the Pac-2.
There could be a dispensary bowl next year, the Weed Eater Bowl. It's like brownies, edibles. Cars would be there, and Claudio. The Aloha Bowl, that's still then. But I think it would go again to the rankings, the AP ranking, the Super 16 poll show ranking,
There you go. I love it. I love it.
and
The college football playoff.
college football playoff. Yeah, those rankings will set the top teams, and automatic bids are given if you win your conference. So
Okay,
it'll.
but
I
are we
think
gonna
it'll.
have-
12 is a good number. It's better than 4.
Well, is it? Because the people are going to be bitching about who's going to be in the 12. They're going to say, well, let's expand it to 24. I mean, it's going to be like
The
what
Sweet
is it, the
16.
FCS. Something, right? Because
Yeah, what does the FCS start out at?
I
24?
don't know where they start.
Oh.
But-
Cherie, can you look that up? The FCS playoffs. How many teams?
I mean, the idea that you can play like, at your home, I mean, that's great. But I mean, what's going to happen with the bowls? Because people were comparing to kind of like the NIT, right?
I hope.
Wouldn't that be interesting? That'd be hella
Yeah,
interesting.
we don't want it the NIT. We're gonna get into all this stuff. The fans are piping hot here as we talk about the layout in the future. How about we talk about? Do you want to talk about the Bears? Get that out of the way
Absolutely,
quick.
sure we can. I'd love to.
24 teams in the FCS, so that'll kind of give you some perspective there. They start out with 24 teams in their playoffs. College football is turning to 12. I'm okay with that. I want to see how this works next February. It's going to go into February probably. What?
Yeah, but now you're talking about eligibility. I mean, it's gonna.
They're going to come up with. They have to come up with rules.
Well, right. I mean, we're not trying to solve that this evening, but I mean, if it goes into next semester, I mean, now you got to keep guys eligible for 2 semesters. Shit, they're having problems keeping guys eligible for 1 semester.
Well, with the NIL money and things like that, it's becoming what it has always been, a business. I didn't come here to get a degree. I came here to play football. Famous quote by a couple NFL first rounders. And that's really where we're at. Yeah. We're going to see where this goes. I think there's the days of all the bowls are going.
Oh, that's interesting, Bullets.
Yeah. And we'll see how they're going to set this up, because obviously they're going to have to keep rivalry weekend end at Thanksgiving and start earlier. That's the way I think they have to do it. You got to get rid of the SEC, the Big Ten championship, in my mind. You have to get rid of that and just have a seasonal winner.
They're not going to allow that.
Something you're going to have to cut a week down.
I guarantee you the conferences aren't going to, especially the fucking 2 super conferences, they're not going to let that go.
Yeah.
You know how much money that is for them?
It's all about the money. Unfortunately. That's what it's about. Speaking of money, the Chicago Bears will have plenty of money.
Hello.
And they have plenty of money to spend on a new coach if they so choose.
If they so choose.
I am in the department that they should choose a new coach. I have stated this before. Despite the fans' chants of wanting Fields, I think a whole reboot is necessary for the Chicago Bears as they move forward with this franchise. We'll be talking all about that tomorrow night with Dan Wiederer of the
nice.
Chicago Tribune.
Yes.
Joining us talking about it.
I'm a fan.
Yeah, big Dan. Dan's going to come in swinging. See where he is. Where are you, Chris Zorich, with this football team?
Well, it seems as though folks have amnesia, right? So that they think of the last 5 games like, oh my God, this is great. And it's like, well, wait a minute. I mean, let's add up what's going on in the last 2 seasons.
Right.
And, you know, the fact that during this season, we've celebrated 2 wins in a row, which is appalling. Then we also celebrate an actual conference win, which is appalling. I mean, let's not forget what's going on under this reign. And it's been the lack of success.
Exactly.
So the fact that they've played, and I don't have all the stats, but the last 5 teams we played outside of the Lions weren't all that great, right?
They're all on the bottom half. They're all picking in the top 5.
So, okay.
The wins they've had,
you
they're
know.
all in the top 5.
So it's like, hey, we beat the bottom 5 of
we
the
beat
NFL.
Arizona, who was fighting for the first overall pick. They upset the Eagles, so fans will throw that. But the reality is, any given Sunday. But Arizona, they beat. You know, they've had their first division win against the Minnesota Vikings. They had 4 turnovers, 5 with a stop on downs, and they kicked 4 field goals in that game to win 12-9 against Josh Dobbs.
So what week was that?
That was 3 weeks ago.
Okay.
They had that was their first division win, week 12.
In 2 years, right?
In 2 years, yes. They hadn't had a division win.
Okay, can we stop
now? Go ahead.
I'm just saying. Like, I mean, any other, if we were any other franchise, right? I mean, we're fans, right?
Yeah.
We would be like, hey man, fire this, or like the Jets always show up to the draft, right? They go nuts. But if you're in week 7 of a second season and you beat your first conference opponent,
week 12.
I'm sorry, week 12.
Worse. Yes.
I mean,
I said this thing.
What are we talking about here? Like, there needs to be a seismic shift, right? Because, I mean, so I just like, we've been making excuses for years, right? Well, this doesn't happen because of this and this, but
they were tanking Chris in year 1. That doesn't count. That doesn't count. What? Like, you have to be rational. There's no ever a clear statement in a locker. We're tanking this year. No,
but also a lot of people say that like have never competed, right? I mean, have never been out there. Like at the end of the day, it's about somebody lining up in front of you.
Exactly.
And hopefully dominating that person, right?
Right.
And so no one's going into a competition saying, hey, if I lose this game, it's going to be better for me. Well, listen, dumbass, they may draft your position. So
exactly.
Think about that, right? I mean, so, hey, I'm going to lose this game because, dude, you lose it. Come on, man. I mean, I've been on a couple of 4-12 teams with our favorite coach, Dave Wannstedt, and it was just horrible.
Well, under Matt Eberflus, the Bears have had 5 historic franchise losses. There's 3 epic collapses, with 4 of those 5 record-breaking losses, where the chances of losing were less than 1%. Eberflus's Bears have a franchise record in the Charter history 14 straight losses in a row. Eberflus' first time beating a divisional opponent, it was week 12, I said, versus the Vikings. The Bears under Eberflus have wins versus arguably one, we'll say two, NFL starting quarterbacks in Jared Goff and Kyler Murray.
This year?
No, throughout.
Oh my God!
Throughout his history, as
oh my God,
he's a defensive coach.
Oh my God!
He's beaten Brian Hoyer, Davis Mills, Mac Jones, Zappi. They both played that game. Howell, Sam Howell, who's been benched. Dobbs, Bryce Young, Trey Lance. And now, who did they beat this weekend? Oh, they beat. Oh, yeah, that's right. He's not a starter either because I don't even know his name. Heineke, Taylor Heineke.
How about the guy that got off the bench?
They've beaten two starting quarterbacks. Joe Flacco, who was babysitting.
Right, I forgot that, yeah.
Jumps in and throws for 275 yards in the fourth quarter to have the most miraculous comeback where there's a 0.1% chance of them going and winning. The Bears are 9-23 under Matt Eberflus. Brandon Staley, who was fired, beat Matt Eberflus. These wins are, as you said, they're little mirages of anything. They're playing teams that don't matter. There's no chance. Falcons weren't going anywhere. The Falcons are terrible. So this.
All right. So what if we looked at it as, all right, so the last 5 games, we're really impressed. Hey, we're excited. What happened? Let's say the bottom 5, bottom 4 outside of Lions, right? So let's say, what if we played the top 5 teams in the league? Like, how would we fare against them if we barely beat some of these teams, right? That's really what your competition is supposed to be. Like, you want to play with the best to be the best, right?
Right. They got smashed by the Chiefs, right?
We all saw that, yes.
Right. Terrible, right? They were up 28-7. This is another historic loss, and lost the game to the Denver Broncos, up 28-7. So the teams, to your point, that they've played, there's several layers here that I think Kevin Warren really has to take a step back, pull Ryan Poles aside and say, we can't fall for the Fruit Loops, the phony ones, right? We have to eat the originals, and we have to look at this. Where is the direction? Yes, this defense, Montez Sweat, I'll answer Ron in this comment. If Montez Sweat was here, I believe that would have helped this defense and create turnovers for an offense that continued to struggle all in the beginning of the season. Let's just put it realistically. When Shane sent me some of the stats of the other quarterbacks around the league, and Justin Fields is ranked 26th, and you have other quarterbacks ahead of him, there's an offensive problem here in Chicago. And I've said it for 2 years. It's Luke Getsy. The head coach is deciding on Getsy. The first time they won at home was with a backup quarterback, as Kerry Franklin is putting up there. And that's really where we're at. And now they're manipulating stats. We won 5 games in a row at home. Yeah. Okay. Who did you play? Let's look at it. That kind of question gets Bears fans so. Anytime I've talked truth about Justin Fields and his inconsistencies, it makes people upset. So my biggest issue with this football team is the head coach. Now, let's lay it all on the line. The Packers have everything to gain by winning. Show me this Sunday, Chris, against your rival, Cherie's already telling me this guy's poo-pooing. We're gonna treat it like any other game. You're wrong again. You've already done it wrong. If you're saying that, let me tell you, you know it better than I do. I just saw it sitting over by the guy. The McCaskies put a lot of weight in beating those guys. You might get a full a lifetime deal if you beat them, right? You can work here every year as long as you win 2 games. And that's part of the problem. But you can't be saying that this game is just another game. It's you beat them, you knock them out of the playoffs, and you continue on this path that you're trying to build a culture.
Right, but here's the thing. Let's say, Phil, if they beat him by 3 touchdowns. I mean, is that going to secure his future with the Bears? I mean, are we not like what happened in the last 2 years that if they win on Sunday, that will allow them to say, hey, let's go ahead and stay with this group, right? Stay with this head coach. I mean, even if he wins, is that enough to keep him? Because if you compare the last 2 years, the record-wise,
Yep,
to any other team in the league, I mean, you find out where you're going to end up, and you find out where you want to be. You just want to be average? I mean, I assume not, right? I mean, they went and hired a guy who has some football knowledge. They want to move forward. They want to have some success.
Listen, I have watched this team float in mediocrity and below. They just don't get the coach right. They just don't. And that's really where this needs to be addressed. Now you're facing a divisional rival. What are the Packers? They have 9 wins or 8 wins. Cherie, what's the record? The Packers as they go up.
8 wins, right?
Right.
I think.
So it's not like this league, the NFL, is so, oh my God, this one team in the NFC is just dominant. Like the 49ers have been beaten. So the Eagles just lost to the Cardinals. It is what it is. It's what the NFL wanted. They wanted
parity. They wanted
parity.
Yeah.
They wanted parity. The Chicago Bears, despite the NFL's want for parity, have been below parity. So the Packers are 8-8. There you go. The Bears have a chance to knock them out of the playoffs. They cannot win the playoffs. They can't go into the playoffs. That's another century. 2018 was the last time we've been in the playoffs. We all know how that ended. So I'm looking at this from the contract of Fields, the head coach, the fact that they're celebrating these wins in a club after in that culture.
Cigars?
People,
come on, man.
You guys, you're getting cigars. Like I thought cigars are at least for the playoffs or the division.
I love a cigar, and if I could, I would. Well, before I got married, I smoked at least 3 cigars a day in my home. So I love me some cigars. But in that environment, they mean something different than just kind of like firing something up and walking out smoking a cigar.
Right.
I mean, I'm not passing cigars out when I'm, 5 and whatever, 7 or whatever. I mean, it's just not. That's not the environment that you have.
That's for me. That's a big, huge red flag on the culture that the coach is just allowing the players to do what they want.
Right.
Of course they like him. They're not going to say anything bad. He's letting them do whatever they want. They suck. They're mediocre. They beat Taylor Heineke. Great. The Arizona Cardinals are terrible. They're a dome team playing in the snow. Vegas is laughing. What do you think? They know who's going to win. It's easy. Let me see you go up to Green Bay, the team you haven't beat, what, in 9 tries? You're 0 for 9.
Ouch.
And you're talking like this. What is his exact quote, Sheree? Eberflus stated that, we're going to treat this like any other game because I don't want to overdo. I don't know what he said. I'm saying he could say that.
They don't have any more games, though. They should treat this as
this is it. You come
Super
out.
Bowl.
This is our Super Bowl. You
Right.
think we want to knock them? You think we don't want to knock them? That's what a head coach does that you want. We want to knock these guys. I don't care. Give them billboard material, bulletin board. They put it all over the place.
And possibly your last game coaching.
Exactly. I'm going to keep it about us. The guy's the wrong guy. That's a given. Every week you got to keep it about you. We got to execute every week. But there's something bigger here. This could be your last game as a head coach. You haven't beaten the Green Bay Packers. And I'm going to pick the Bears to win. See what they do. Because I have a strategy, Bullets, that obviously you didn't listen to me when I texted you that. He continues with this joke. I wanted them to win.
Well,
I pick against them, they win. I pick them, they lose. So I'm going to pick them, see if this really happens.
Well, but here's the scenario for folks. I mean, think about this. If they win, hey, we've kept our rivalry out of the playoffs. You know, we've won 6 games in a row. I mean, and it's almost.
They didn't win 6 in a row.
I'm sorry.
They're saying they won 5 home games. Okay. They manipulate.
I even got tricked, right?
Yeah. Oh wait, they won 5 in a row. No, they had a loss in there. They've lost in there.
Well, but when you look at this, you have to do that in order to make your team feel good. Yeah. Right? You know, hey, we're 5-0 at home. You know, I mean, that's what you're saying, right? I mean, we're 5-0, and then in parentheses you say at home. But so let's say they go out there and win, right? What happens to the organization now? Is everybody fired up because they beat the Packers the first time in 9 years? So what does that mean for the future of the Bears?
That's
because you have the same. So now it's like, okay, well, we're going to go with this guy. We're going to go with this quarterback. And now it's year 4 of Justin's reign and year 3 of Eberflus.
Yeah.
Are you going to turn? Is it like? Are you going to sprinkle magic dust and make this just a? I mean, all-encompassing game here. Like this is the win-all be-all.
Mr. Zorich, how the hell are you?
Hello. How are you, sir?
I had to stop in and give you boys some breaking Chicago Bears news that might rile up the masses.
Hey, all right. Let it out.
Courtney Cronin,
yes,
friend of TTNL, is now reporting that Ted Phillips and owner George McCaskey made the final say to hire head coach Matt Eberflus, and that it was not a Ryan Poles decision.
Wow.
Straight from Courtney Cronin.
Holy.
It was removed.
We are. They removed it.
Yep. Here's the
ultimate say on Matt Eberflus.
Well, you want me to play the audio?
Yeah.
He didn't hire. I mean, I know what's out there. He was not the one who had the ultimate say on Matt Eberflus. That was a Ted Phillips, and that was a George McCaskey decision at the end of the day. So this would be Ryan Poles making that first real decision on a head coach. I know, like what was said, I chose him, that whole thing with the press conference, but you know, if you talk to people inside the building about who had the real juice in that moment, that was a Ted Phillips and George McCaskey decision ultimately. So he didn't hire. I mean, I know what's out there. he was not
it's a
the one who had the
repeat
ultimate say on Matt Eberflus. That was a Ped Phillips, and that was a
Same old.
There it is,
Chicago.
Chris. This is
Wow.
what I try to tell the fans. Now you can all line up and apologize to Chris and Phil, as we were just talking about this. And Shane, this is a disgrace that you're allowing Ted Phillips to be involved in a football decision when they're lying to you, saying they don't do football. It's the good old boy bullshit network.
Courtney Cronin is employed by the new home of the Chicago Bears.
Yeah,
this isn't just
they took it down because George has got his panties in a bind. So Ryan Poles is pissed. But yo, that is huge. I can't believe. Thank God you recorded it.
Yeah. Oh,
Chris,
it's all over. It's all over Twitter.
It's the same old crap.
I was just getting ready to go enjoy a late dinner, relax after my Crimson Tide got punched in the face by the better team.
Oh my God.
Nick Saban drove McLaughlin to the portal today. I'll have you know, Zorich drove him himself.
The center.
Hey, I can admit it.
Cody White there.
They lost to a better team yesterday. Michigan was.
Lord.
We haven't even gotten into
at least
it.
the better center.
Yeah. Yeah. But if you go back and watch that was blocked up perfectly from the all 22 angle. That bad snap caused it to go the wrong way. But
but then also, I mean, you talk about the offensive, the call.
Yeah.
I mean, is that the best call? I mean, you can. There's a myriad of things, but when you're, and again, it's not. I'm against the subject for a second here. Those issues snapping the ball.
Yep.
That didn't just happen yesterday.
Mm-mm.
I mean,
it's been all Chris. Their offense, and this is what's been so. I was down on Milroe. You guys heard me say it early on in the year. Then they benched him, and he came back, and took a personal. And he you got to give the kid credit. He started to ball out, but the Alabama offensive line all year long has been in it. Chris, you and I were texting last night during the game. They had 7 games where they gave up 4+ sacks. Alabama, dude. I mean, come on. It's crazy. But they deserved exactly what they got. And I think there's going to be some major changes along that offensive line. I mean, even Herb Street last night got out. Milroe, you got to handle those bad snaps. I'm like, dude, they're rolling to him. What are you doing?
I would have gotten him under center.
There may have been 2 or 3 that were right.
Yeah,
get him under center. What is the former Notre Damer doing out there at the OC?
It was
a moment.
You saw that.
Oh my God!
Can't. Yeah, definitely excuse. You could see it on McLaughlin's face. When they went up to him, his face was crimson red. I mean, he was embarrassed, and kid played the worst game that I've seen a Tide player in a long time. I mean, on essentially the biggest stage in the world for college football. I mean, Michigan, Alabama doesn't get too much.
Gotta blame the Notre Dame OC for all.
Yeah. Yeah, it only took Tommy Rees how many years to finally beat Alabama? He just had to be on staff to do
it. That's funny.
But anyways, I'll let you guys get back to the show. I just wanted to stop in because I thought
I'm glad you
thought
did.
It was relevant.
I appreciate that, man.
Big breaking news.
Man.
Shout out to Courtney Cronin, always doing a great job.
We're gonna have to get her back on the show.
Yeah, on the show. Definitely after this.
Yeah. So, all right. Love you guys. We'll talk to you later.
Thanks.
I'm not talking to Cherie. She's in the green room laughing at me right now, I'm sure.
She's got her Michigan hat on. Look at her.
or she's just silent, not having to say anything at all.
I'm going to put on my Penix jersey after he lights them up for 7 tutties.
Wow.
All right. Love you guys.
All
right, Shane. Thanks. So you heard it here. Shane coming in with some Chicago Bears breaking news, taking the show. We had technical difficulties, and then we have Bears breaking news, and we're going to get into all of that. Ted Phillips and George McCaskey confirmed hiring Matt Eberflus. What have Ted Phillips and George McCaskey failed to do very well? Hire coaches. I can list them down for you. Dave Wanstedt, Dick Geron, Lovie Smith, Mark Trestman, Matt Nagy, John Fox, and here we are with Matt Eberflus. The Chicago Bears have not done well when it comes to coaching. And with this breaking news, if you're just joining us, with the 3-time All-American at Notre Dame, College Football Hall of Famer, number 97 for your Chicago Bears. Where's that graphic? It needs to be shown right now. It's my favorite thing to do. Where is it, Cherie? There it is.
Oh.
Right there. 1993. All Madden, baby. Chris Zorich, myself are here talking college championship and the Chicago Bears football here at TTNL. Mr. remembers when we were young. Don't we all remember when I was showing Chris the cable box that I used to have? Remember?
How cool was that?
Right? Chris had pliers and tin foil extended on the rabbit ears, right? To get in television back in the day. Oh my God. The Chicago Bears, last point on this, we'll move on. Let's talk about the championship, and then we have to wrap up because Ivan Vargas, another Bears show, he'll be breaking this down.
Nice.
Coming up at 9:30, Chris. But last point, I'll just say this. Tomorrow with Dan Wiederer will join us. We'll be talking all about the breaking news that has been taken down. It's just the typical Bears. It's embarrassing at this point. They've taken down what she said, not understanding that this is a different world of social media, and audio can be, screen grabbed and recorded and kept. So we'll be talking all about that craziness of just what we were ranting about. Shane jumps in. We're pointing out all the discrepancies in the 0.281 coaching percentage and winning that Coach Eberflus has, and we'll talk about that. Let's talk about Michigan. What a game, beating Alabama, smash mouth football, overtime, Chris. Goes into overtime. Michigan has that great drive. The special teams was killing Michigan. Punter, punt returner, things going terrible. They're able to overcome it. The drive down the football field to tie the game, that throw off the tip, and Wilson catching that ball. What were your thoughts there on that drive?
Well, you think about not even just that drive, but just overall. I mean,
yeah,
the adversity that this team has faced. Now, I want to say mere mortals, right, they would crumble if their coach has to miss the first 3 games, right? Let alone 3 games in the beginning, 3 games at the end, all this other shit that's been going on throughout the season. And literally this is kind of their year, right? So this is anything that you've thrown at University of Michigan from the administration a couple of years ago, not wanting Jim, from the issues before the season, during the season. You have an offensive coordinator that goes in and plays the biggest game of the year as the head coach and beats Ohio State.
Yep.
Everything you've thrown at this team. So that locker room has to be beyond tight. After this performance, there isn't a team that would. I don't think that there's a team that would be able to beat them. Although I thought that Alabama was going to, it turned. They were able to fight through that adversity because they've seen it all year, right? And and Nick Saban, I mean, every coach has said this. You show me how a person reacts in the face of adversity, and that'll show you kind of their life lessons, but more importantly, what a true leader or a true fighter can be, right?
Yeah.
I mean, if you buckle under adversity, then, hey, you have to go back to the drawing board. You're not successful. These guys didn't have a coach the first 3 games, didn't have a coach the last 3 games, and they played a powerhouse in the playoffs. And they won. They still won.
Still won.
Despite the adversity they had during the game.
That was it. I think the game defined what you said. It was adversity. They overcame it, and they put an exclamation point on it at the very end with our guy running 17 yards, breaking tackles, and getting in the end zone. I mean, talk about effort there.
Let's even talk about him. He blows. Didn't he tear his ACL?
Yeah, 2 years ago.
Right.
And he came back.
He's fighting back with that.
Yeah. Corum, Blake. And his story alone is something that's worth. And we're gonna be live next week. Are we gonna do the pre and post, or are we just doing post? What do you want to do?
Let me see. Let me see how it's gonna. Let me see.
We'll see.
Let me think about it.
Okay, you got about 5 minutes. I want you to talk about Washington versus Texas.
Yes. So again, I am a shitty prognosticator because I thought both Alabama and Texas will be playing for the national championship, and I thought I thought Alabama.
I picked Washington, Michigan, just for the record.
There you go. Just for the record. Thank you. Which apparently we're going to see every year anyway after this because they're both in the Big Ten now, right? This is going to be a Tuesday game. This is going to be a Maxim game, right?
Yeah. It could be. Maybe Jim will be the coach of the Bears at that point. So that's my
I thought that as for Washington, first of all, had no idea who the head coach was at Washington. Not only because I watch college football constantly, but the West Coast games are on and I'm asleep because I'm old. But the idea that this dude has had success, like he's lost 5 games in 2 years, that's amazing. And he did it with somebody that everybody doubted. I mean,
they were rebuilding though, Chris. They were rebuilding. They got a tank. No, he wins.
He threw up 430 yards on a good Texas team, right? I mean,
flinging it, bro.
Come on, man.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to be a tough game, man. I honestly, I thought that this was Pinnock's showcase on a national, even though he beat Oregon twice, which people doubted both games. He did that. He's done everything that they've wanted, and they still didn't give him the damn Heisman. I thought he should have won it, but that's just me. But the idea now that people are aware, people are amazed at his abilities now, I think it's going to be a tough game for Michigan, man. But because of all this craziness with Michigan, man, I think Michigan's going to win.
Yeah. I mean, they seem like the team of destiny.
Amazing.
Penix, though, is out there. I mean, Al Davis, if he was still around, he'd be all in on the deep ball. That's Washington throws the deep ball. I've been a big Odunze, however we say his last name. I'm terrible with that. Harrison Jr., I could say easily. But this kid, I've said, because everybody's like, oh, you got to take that receiver. And I'm like, listen, there's 4 receivers in this draft that I really love. Obviously, we'll get into the Bears stuff, but this kid knows how to track the football and make contested catches, runs great routes, and him and Penix have a great connection. And those other receivers are out there too. So, I mean, the story of the tight end, the walk-on tight end, number 37.
It's amazing.
It's amazing. The other receivers out there for the Washington Huskies. They have some firepower. But I think the biggest play in Michigan's game that no one's talking about was the safety tackling the running back in the open field to set up that third down. Like he's by himself, one-on-one. What a freaking tackle.
Yep.
That was in overtime. I mean, that was an amazing tackle. A one-on-one in the alley, number 9 from Michigan. Tremendous tackle. And they set up third down. And that's where they didn't get it. And then they had to go for it was amazing. What a game. And now Washington versus Michigan. So do you want to give a prediction?
I think, yeah. I just think Michigan is a team of destiny this year. And regardless of what you throw at, I'm thinking Penix is going to throw up 500 yards, but Michigan's still somehow going to win.
Yeah. Rod Moore was the safety. Thank you, Jeff. Yes, amazing job. Zorich is calling it. Michigan, team of destiny. Who's got it better than us? Nobody. Tonight, Chris had some technical issues. We're sorry that the show went on a little bit late. And we got some Bears news in here. We want to talk more. We will be back with Chris. I just don't know when. If we're doing it next week, we'll keep you posted.
Yes, I'm kind of leaning before the game, so
that's where he's leaning, and then
maybe.
Then we'll let you know, and we'll get his mic and everything fixed up, and we'll be back.
Or I'll be doing it from my phone.
Well, it worked out. You're a true MacGyver. You were able to get what you had and get us going here. But anyway, tomorrow we have Dan Wiederer. Tomorrow on Keeping 100, we have Dan Wiederer, and we'll be talking all Bears and Zorich, what he thinks. We'll be back talking quarterbacks with Chris as well. People want to know. But tomorrow we'll be doing that. Tonight, next up, Ivan Vargas, another Bears show. Chris, I so appreciate you.
Wow, really? I'm gonna be nice and cordial.
That's what me and Cherie were you trying to help you like this.
Yes.
With your audio. But you pulled through just like a great 3 technique and all Madden player would. Got penetration.
The little adversity, got to work around it. Can't make excuses. Anyway, for the great 3-time All-American, CBS Defensive Player of the Year, national champion, college football Hall of Famer. You won the Outland Award, right? Or the Lombardi Award. It was the Lombardi, but
the Lombardi Award winner. We got to add that, Ron G. Fix this graphic up. Love, and for the great producer, Cherie, who's smiling cheek to cheek.
Finally.
Big Blue. Chris predicted
in the game.
Michigan #1. It's going that way. We're going to see. I can't wait. It's going to be excited. Washington versus Michigan. Tune it in. Lock it in here. TTNL with your guy, Chris Zorich. And I'm your guy. I'm your host, Draft Dr. Phil. We'll see you next time on the Super 16 Bowl Show. Thanks for watching the Super 16 Poll Show with Chris Zorich. Like, subscribe, and comment. This has been a special presentation of the Tape Never Lies Network. Performance over politics.